Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from AnthonysCustoms, and for this review, we are looking at NECA's new Ultimate Predator from Concrete Jungle, which is a very cool looking Predator. It comes with all kinds of extra accessories. Well, I shouldn't really say all kinds of extra accessories, because the Predators generally come with a lot, but this guy does have an interchangeable head, and we'll get to that stuff in a minute, but it's a very cool figure. It does come in the box rather than the standard like clamshell or blister card, so that's very cool, and it's got tons of detail. I love this thing. I love the extra color we have with the reds on there. We have some skulls on there, and a lot extra armor, so very cool looking figure. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand so that we can take a closer look. This guy stands just about 8 3/4 inches tall, which makes him just about 22.5 centimeters. So he definitely has some size to him. He's nice and tall, not especially bulky because the Predators are generally tall, but he definitely has some bulk to him, especially with the added chainmail. You can see we kind of have the sash and some more chainmail down here. We have a lot of extra armor, so lots of nice stuff going on. Now, in terms of accessories, we do have the backpack, which I guess technically isn't really an accessory, but we have the plasma caster, which can slide back and forth on the backpack with that little slide right there, so that's pretty cool. And then of course it has the hinge and a swivel on there so you can pose it around. That's nice. We do have the blades that, again, they're not, I guess, technically accessories because you want to just put them on there and probably leave them on there, but you can remove them, so that's kind of nice. This right here, the necklace with the skeleton on it, it's kind of permanent on there, but I guess you could technically remove it, so we could count that as an accessory, sort of. And the head right here is an accessory because he comes with the standard masked head on him, which is very nicely done. And then you have this one, which is just fantastic. There's so much detail in here. I would definitely prefer to leave this one on, I think. With that open mouth and the eye painted in there and then the damaged eye behind it. Very, very cool looking. I love it. Here's the thing though, when you swap out the heads, you'll notice that the head that came on him in the package has the dreads really nicely laid out, the predlocks as we like to call them. So they're nicely laid out and they don't really get in the way too much, but this head, as it comes in the package, all of the predlocks are kind of pointed downward and kind of pinched together. So when you put it on, you really have to try to get them to line up properly. So make sure you bring some forward here. Now I forgot to pull them forward as I plugged it in on this side, so they all kind of got tucked behind that shoulder pad, which isn't a problem, but it will impede some articulation. So as I show you the articulation, you'll notice the head doesn't want to move all that much because I have a whole lot of extra dreadlock going on back there. But that's not something that's a problem, it's just something to be aware of. Other accessories include an alternate hand. So you have the two hands that come on him in the package, the gripping hand on his left side, the open hand on his right side, and then you get another gripping hand for his right side if you want that. And you need the gripping hands if you want to use the blade. He's got this giant blade, which is really cool. And he has a spear gun type thing, which is nicely detailed. It has a little readout on there, and it's nicely painted, so that's pretty cool. Other features include, I guess it's probably just the one, I think, if memory serves. It's just the one. We have the little panel on here that flips open. Now, mine does not have any printing or painting on the readout in there. I don't know if it's supposed to be there. I've said that on other Predator reviews. I assumed it would have something, but I don't think it's necessarily a big deal that it's not there because it's such a tiny detail on a figure that's already loaded with details. But it is in there that it flips open, so that's pretty cool. Now, in terms of articulation, it's a straight peg that goes into the head and then a ball peg on top of the neck. So the head can move around pretty well, and all of the locks are separate pieces, and they're soft, so they really won't get in the way too much, but they could essentially or eventually pop off that backpack. And you'll see it's probably not going to be as much of a problem with the head that comes on him in the package. But once you get this one on there, it is a bit of an issue. But you can move the head around pretty nicely. Just be careful of the backpack. You may have to plug it back in. For the shoulders, the shoulder pads are connected to the torso, which isn't ideal, but they're nice and soft. And the way they sit, it's not a terrible thing. When you bring the arm around, they do lift up. But as you can see, it's not like they're really flying out of control. So again, it could be better if they were connected to the bicep armor, but it's not a big deal, so that's all right. The arms rotate around fully, no problems. You can raise them up better than horizontal, so that's really good. I love that. You can use the bicep swivel, no problem. Double jointed elbow works really well. Great range there. The forearm rotates here, and then of course the hand rotates in the forearm, so you can position the forearm armor however you want to. Same thing on this side, slightly different design, but it rotates as well. This shoulder armor is connected to the torso in a much more serious way because we have that neck guard up there and the skull and everything. So you have slightly more limitation over here, but it's still pretty soft. I mean, this isn't going to get in the way too much, so it's pretty good. And I love the way they added the chainmail on there. It's soft material, so it's not really going to impede anything. This is soft and this is a loose piece, so the torso will rotate no problem. Now, it is worth noting that the diaphragm joint, it really doesn't lean that far unless you force it. You can lean them back a little bit for maybe like a howling pose. I don't know. Yeah, I can't really get them to lean too far forward, so don't expect a crazy range out of that diaphragm. A little bit side to side, but not too much. I think it's good enough, though. The Predators don't need to like crouch over all that much, really, I suppose. And then you have your waist swivel. It does have some play forward and back and side to side because I don't know if it's actually a ball peg or just a loose swivel, but it works, so that's good. You can definitely rotate it around. All of this is soft material, so you can bring, and this is soft too, so you can bring the legs out pretty far to the side. Actually surprisingly far given how it's sculpted, so that's pretty good. And then bringing them forward, not quite as great, but they come forward enough. You'll be able to put them in some poses. It does have a thigh swivel. It's a little stiff, but once you crack it, it'll work. It's worth noting his hips are still kind of loose. I really hope NECA can square that away at some point because these are great figures, definitely worth what you're paying for them by far, probably worth more than what you're paying for them. But that kind of thing is just really a nuisance to have to deal with. So I hope they figure that out. For the knees, we do have a double jointed knee, which works exceptionally well. Really, really good range, and it looks nice, and technically it'll rotate around in there, but you probably don't need to do that, so no big deal. And then lastly, for the ankle, it's just a ball peg, which is pretty minimal, so he's definitely not going to have his ankles bent real far, especially for like an ankle rocker. And then going forward and back, almost nothing. He's got all this extra armor, so it impedes all of the posability there. So ultimately, no pun intended, it's a really solid figure with some issues in the articulation, but definitely not enough to worry about. And I would definitely say you should pick this guy up. It's a fantastic figure for the price point. You really can't beat it. And it is in stock, I think. It should be in stock right now. Maybe it's not quite there. I don't remember anymore. Anyway, there's a link in the description if you want to get him. So check out Big Bad Toy Store. And make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have new videos up every single day, so make sure you click that subscribe button, make sure you click that bell to turn on notifications because we do action figures, movies, TV shows, video games, all kinds of fun stuff, so make sure you come back for that, and in the meantime, keep collecting.